What is going on YouTube? Trip6 here. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling my story about how metal and music changed my life. So the beginning of this video is going to sound very depressing. I'm sorry, that's kind of the way it was at the time, but there's a very happy ending, so be sure to watch till the end. So here we go. During my childhood, a few rather troublesome events happened very early on. My parents divorced when I was 10 years old, and my father died when I was 12. After the death of my father, I found myself thinking about life quite a bit, which kept my mind occupied and fixated on the concepts of life and death themselves, which was something I didn't exactly find my other 12-year-old peers to be thinking about, and so I felt very distant and isolated in my own world. Afterwards, that same year, my family moved up to Las Vegas to live with my mother's then boyfriend, and now the stepfather that I love so much, Scott. Now, this was a huge move for my little brother and I, but he seemed to adapt to the situation a lot better and faster than I did. At my new middle school, I was oftentimes picked on and bullied, and ultimately had about 3 friends tops throughout the entire 2-year duration we were living there. And that really kind of took a toll on my emotional well-being as well as my self-esteem. And 2 years after we moved there, in 2010, shortly after I entered into 8th grade, my family decided to move back to Hutchinson, Kansas, but we went with a different school district than we had there before. I was now 14 years old, and life was still difficult for me because I had to adapt yet again to another environment surrounded by all new people. I was incredibly shy and fairly angry at the rest of the world because of all the events that had transpired over the past couple of years. I pretty much just distanced myself from everyone and everything and kept to myself. At one point during 8th grade, though, I was randomly approached by this dude named Colton, who decided to start up some small talk with me. He was incredibly kind, but being the outcast that I was and not really trusting of anybody, I was very suspicious and slightly skeptical about why he decided to randomly come up and start talking to me, but as our conversation went further, I really appreciated it nonetheless. So I had a few classes with him and later decided to become better acquainted. After a few weeks of us continuing our conversations in class and outside of the school, waiting for the parents to come pick us all up and whatnot, I decided to invite him over after school so we can hang out. Now, fast forward to after the school day was over, we were both sitting in my bedroom and he was playing music on my little Aspire notebook laptop thing. It was one of those miniature laptops. And at this point, I didn't really listen to music or see the magic in doing so. Like, straight up, I played the trumpet from the 5th to the 7th grade and didn't care for it then. It was just an easy A. And then I was in choir at this time in 8th grade, but I just lip synced and didn't care for it. They were all just easy A classes, and that's what I wanted, so that's why I took them. Like, I straight up didn't care for music at all. And while we're sitting there, Colton randomly goes, and I look over at him, and he was like, "Best song ever." And then he started typing, and so I was like, okay, cool, like, play it. He then starts playing the song Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold on YouTube with the music video. I was immediately entranced and encapsulated by whatever I was hearing. It made me feel as though the words, the music, and the overall eeriness of that particular track was something I could actually relate to after years of emotional isolation. And to this day, I can pinpoint that being the very moment I decided I want more of this. And so throughout the rest of 8th grade, I was listening to metal music all the time, several different bands I was being introduced to, and I would listen to them just religiously, and I was feeling the best I had ever remembered feeling. I started actually putting in effort during choir class so I could really learn how to sing. And then this outcast that I was began making new friends with common musical interests that were also at that school. I even ended up helping form a band in 8th grade and then started learning how to do metal vocals and started learning how to play the guitar later on in high school. And my life was just completely changed for the better. All because just one benevolent person decided to come up to me and become my friend and then show me a metal track. Everything else in my life, my purpose, my confidence, and my social skills they all suddenly existed for the first time, and I haven't been the same since. And that, my friends, is the power of music and friendship. Alright guys, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like what you saw, please hit subscribe down below, drop a like, and drop a comment on what you would like to see me cover in the future. See you in my next video.